Hi, Reem. I'm Mira. I
Hi.
am co-owner and creative chef of Nectar. It is a functional food cafe focusing on um, healthy food in a fun and creative way. I also create the menu and I also run the back end of the business in partnership with Nadia. And I am part of the Wellness Collective. So that is also something that we will talk to you about. I will hand it over to Nadia because you are in my next frame.
Hi. So my name is Nadia Sahuel. I'm the owner of Body Tree Studio, or the co-owner of Body Tree Studio with my mother. We've been around for 13 years. We started out as a yoga and Pilates space, and we're now an integrated wellness space, I want to call it. So we've got amazing nectar in our space. Our core business is movement, mostly yoga, Pilates, and a lot of different types of mindful movement. But we also are strong with meditation, healing. And then Susie, who I'm going to hand over to in a minute, runs the nutrition at Body Tree. I want to call her our nutritionist life coach. She's got her own consultancy, but also works with us. And the three of us created the Wellness Collective because we're just passionate about different things, wellness, and we wanted to just spread the word. Really. So I'm going to hand over to Susie.
Thank you, Nadia and Mira. So I'm Susie. Susan Terzian is the official name. I'm a clinical nutritionist, certified health coach, and I also am actively and always studying. So I'm doing functional medicine right now. So yeah, I run a nutrition consultancy. I've been doing this for over 15 years. And the landscape of the wellness community and language has drastically changed, over time, which is fantastic. And yeah, I'm really passionate about empowering people with knowledge, with information, mindset shifts, lifestyle, because these are things that are at the core of their health. So that's a little bit, a quick blurb about us. Tell us about yourself. Over to you.
Me. So I'm Reem. I'm a psychologist, so I'm a psychotherapist. I've been practicing for about 12, 13 years. New York, Cairo, I've been here. I specialize in working with eating disorders and addiction. And of course, you're aware that in the past decade, maybe more, psychology started to take more of a holistic view of even treatment and looking at treatment and looking at the mind-body connection and maybe using even different ways to be able to reach the clients, to be able to have them, to help them heal, to work on their traumas. So
sorry to interrupt, but we are 1 minute away. So a 1 minute warning that we are gonna go live. So I would say in 45 seconds, you guys can start speaking. Reem, you can actually do this introduction all over again. Ladies, thank you so much and have a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, in 45, you'll be live.
Great.
Thanks. Reem, you're gonna be just going through the questions that Alexa had sent over, or how are you planning?
I'm planning it to be more of a conversation, and I'll use definitely some of the questions that Alexa had sent, and we spoke 2 days ago about what is it that we want the public to come out with from this session, and I think I have a little bit of a view.
Awesome.
Okay. How do we know that we're live?
We're live.
Oh, we are? Okay. So this is a little bit new, but good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Live Healthy Festival. We're excited to have you, and we're excited to start with this session. The festival in general focuses on immunity, and this session is about immunity and the mind and how they relate to each other. So I will start by letting our panel introduce themselves. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Reem Shaheen. I'm a psychologist. I work out of Dubai. I specialize in working with eating disorders and addiction. And over the past decade or more, psychology has been more and more inclined in looking at the mind-body connection and looking at other aspects that affect the psyche other than just events that happen in your life. And today, I'm excited to have a panel from different backgrounds to just give in their input on the matter. So I would like the panel to start by introducing themselves. Mira, if you would start, please go ahead.
Great. Hi, my name is Mira Naman. I'm the co-owner and creative chef of Nectar in Abu Dhabi. It's a functional food cafe. I also work in partnership with Nadia and Susie, who will introduce themselves with the Wellness Collective. So thank you for having us. We're excited to be here. Nadia?
Hi, my name is Nadia Sahwail. I am the co-founder and co-owner of Body Tree Studio. We're Abu Dhabi's first Pilates and yoga studio, and over our 13 years, we have evolved to become a holistic wellness space, or an integrated wellness space. So we offer much more than mindful movement now. We also do meditation, healing, nutrition. Susie's going to talk about that in just a minute. Workshops, pre and postnatal, everything that's really that encompasses wellness and everything that we're passionate about. And of course, we've got Nectar housed within the Body Tree walls to nourish us and keep us going. I'm going to hand over to Susie.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Susan Terzian. I'm a clinical nutritionist, a certified holistic health coach, and I practice functional medicine as well as studying it. And I've been in this space for over 15 years, working as a nutritionist, as a, I guess, wellness motivator and educator to people, trying to change people's mindsets when it comes to health and wellness. So I see clients one-on-one, I do group programs, I give talks, and it's all with the same passion of just evoking change, changing people's thoughts and their minds when it comes to this lifestyle.
I think what I would like to start with, thank you all for your introductions, but I think sometimes we use terminologies and we assume that the general public understands what we're talking about, but I feel like if we define what we mean, they know exactly what we're talking about. So I think I would like to start by asking one of you to just explain what is holistic, what is meant with this word.
Let's all jump in.
We're paying attention. Who's gonna go?
I think it means a lot to all of us. I think when we think holistic, we think all encompassing, as in everything is interconnected. So there is nothing that you can take as a solo because our bodies are completely interconnected. Our emotions affect the way we think. The way we think affects our physical being. It affects our mental well-being. And so, yeah, that's what we mean by holistic. Our bodies are these fully integrated, we're these fully integrated beings, and we've got to pay attention to everything in our life. So not just our movement, although I'm incredibly passionate about movement, but I understand that other things that Susie talks about all the time, like sleep, nutrition, relationships, that all comes into play.
Okay. I think this gives a very good explanation. Does anyone want to add to that? Okay, I'll move. Susie, you had something.
I said that was perfect.
Oh, so I'll move to my first question. And I think when I wanted to understand what is it that we wanted to get out of this session, it started with, okay, what is missing in the conversation today between the medical establishment and all of these other establishments that are coming out and saying there is a mind-body connection? Means research has shown that. So it's pretty much near to a fact now that we have to look at the whole person rather than looking at one or two aspects of it. So what is missing in that conversation, do you feel, today?
Well, I think it's staring us in the eye. It hasn't been more clear than today. You know, as I said, I've been doing this for over 15 years, and the conversation has completely shifted. We've been trying to scream out that we have to think of the person as a whole. We have to look at a whole person's health. We can't just be going to an endocrinologist and thinking that that organ or those sets of organs function on their own. Unfortunately, this was viewed as very light science. And in the past, you know, mostly 10 years, that conversation is beginning to shift as we begin to realize and understand, you know, the interconnectedness of the body and how important it is for us to view our health from a preventative space. And I think this is where we're extremely passionate because, you know, with everything that's going on, again, it's staring us in the face. Now more than ever, we've been faced with a pandemic. It hasn't happened in our lifetime, you know, and now we're realizing, oh, wow. So if you don't have your ducks in order, if you don't have, you know, your wellness systems in place as a person, then you're not going to be doing very well, or you're going to be panicking. And this is something that we've been, I mean, I can go on and on, but it comes from the medical establishments as, you know, as a starting point, if you're going to think of it as from top down. So the medical establishments, they need to change their conversation. And we know now that we're calling a different kind of medicine functional medicine. Unfortunately, we had to create a new, you know, a new paradigm because the conventional medical system is mostly about, they're amazing, by the way. So I'm not dissing that at all. I'm just saying that it's the way that they were taught medicine. They weren't taught prevention. They were taught how to fix us if we're broken, you know. And what we're trying to say is, you know, we're not broken. We just need to find the preventative care that everybody should get and deserves. I'll stop there, but I can say more.
Yes. So, but I feel like what is missing is more of a conversation maybe on how to help individuals thrive rather than I'll fix you when you're broken and then send you back and you can live your life. And if something goes wrong, come back to me. So you feel this is where maybe the drop in the conversation is happening?
This, and as well the ownership of the person. We're trying to educate and empower people to take ownership of their health, because it's time. You can't just sit back and trust the white robe. You know, I think that has a huge impact, especially I will say in the Middle East, but also around the world. You know, the white robe commands a lot of our attention. So that's why I implore the white robe wearers to speak this language, because people are listening to you. And if we can, you know, influence them to look and be their own, you know, healthcare detectives and kind of look after their own health. This is just to add to what we want to see. It's from the medical establishments, you know, tell people what they can do to empower their health, but also you as a consumer of your health, you know, what can you do to empower your own health? Because you can do a lot.
I'll come back to the question with you, Mira, but I want to maybe ask, Susie, I want to ask Mira about her input into what is missing in this conversation.
I think we see a lot of the times when we do go to doctors, it's very based on fixing the problem, as Susie was saying, and less about your lifestyle. You don't get a lot of questions about, you know, you go in saying, oh, I have, you know, chronic headaches. You rarely get the question of, what have you been eating? Have you been sleeping? Have you been exercising? Have you been, you know, meditating, if that's something that you do? I think a lot of it is, okay, take these painkillers, it'll stop the pain. What I would like to hear is, what is the root cause of that pain? Is it something that maybe is triggered by what you're eating or how you're living? Or these are the conversations that I think we'd like, quote unquote, the white robes to be asking, as opposed to just, here's a painkiller, come back in 6 weeks, hopefully the pain will be gone. If not, we'll do more testing. And then that also creates a bit of like fear base. And I think what Susie's saying about taking ownership, and what I would like to contribute, is also it's a lifestyle. So how you live your life very much affects how you feel, down to something that I spent my life and dedicated my life with is around food, and how to make food something that is enjoyable and not a punishment. It should be something that we thrive in and that we enjoy doing, in the right way. So I think the conversation isn't always, how do I fix the problem, but look at it as a whole, quote unquote, holistic way, and see how our life in a whole can be affected by that thing that's bothering you, like a chronic headache or a chronic back pain. I think that's what we're trying to focus on today, is having the patient or the end user ask these questions. Maybe take ownership, like Susie's saying, and say, maybe is it something that I'm eating? Can we test for an intolerance? Could it be something that I'm doing? Well, you know what? I don't sleep very well. Maybe that could trigger the healthcare provider to maybe ask another question that they might not have intrinsically asked, unless the end user was saying, you know what, I think this might be something that we should look into. And it's about taking ownership and asking those questions, and owning your own space and owning yourself.
Do you feel that the white robes are open to these questions and to answering these questions from patients? My experience with doctors is that they are very impatient.
Nadia?
I think that's very telling. I mean, I think if you are sitting with someone who's unwilling to hear you out, you are not with the right doctor, and you should absolutely walk out. And I think that's the messaging we have to start giving the medical establishment. We aren't stupid people. Just because I don't have a medical background doesn't mean that I am unable to understand. It doesn't mean that my questions are insignificant. We see this as women quite a bit. As teenagers, girls might start having severe cramps. They go to a doctor. It's here, take the birth control pill, get on the contraceptive pill. Well, guess what? 20 years down the line, what's going on with your hormones? What's going on with your mental state of mind? How has the pill actually impacted you? So you've got to look at whatever you're putting in your mouth, has a side effect, right? Positive or negative. And it is completely okay to ask the question. It is completely okay to trust your gut instinct. Our guts tell us quite a bit. So I think we have to start pushing back a little bit. If you're, for example, sitting with a gastroenterologist who's telling you that your food doesn't matter, you shouldn't even be sitting there, because that's completely false. Actually, recently I was sitting with a very wise gastroenterologist, and what he was saying was, we have completely ignored the gut, and we are only just starting to scratch the surface. They are now starting to look at the gut as a whole separate organ. And that's so fascinating, because he was talking about how related that is to all kinds of disease, not just, things related to the colon or the stomach. And so that's fascinating. And I think these are the kind of doctors we want to seek out. And these are the kind of doctors we really want to elevate.
I think this relates to the idea that, obviously from all over the world, you can see that holistic and naturopathic medicine is on the rise, and people are more and more looking for relief within that part of medicine, rather than traditional Western medicine. Do you feel that that this is a sign that people are taking control over their own health, and that the medical field needs to start responding to this trend? Otherwise, they will lose. What is your view on the situation at the moment?
I think there's a time and a place for both naturopathy, allopathic medicine, and I think what we would love to see is more of a marriage, so that there is an understanding that preventative care is important, and taking control of your health and taking steps to improve your health is important, and understanding what's your genetic predisposition. How do we turn these, we've got, all of us have different genes that affect the way we are. Sometimes when these genes are kind of dirtied or turned on, we start getting these side effects. How can we understand this a little bit more and not end up with the risk factors that we think that we're going to end up with? And then I'd love to see medicine, or allopathic medicine, come in and say, great, we're getting this understanding. we do develop something, this is how we can treat it, but you know what, let's try to prevent it. So personally, I'd love to see the marriage a little bit more. I'd like to see an acknowledgement that functional medicine, naturopathy, even homeopathy to a degree has a place in our health. I feel like you can add a lot to this as well.
Mira, back to you, and I want to ask you, how do an individual make a choice between what is when to go to maybe Western medical doctor and when to go for naturopathy and other alternative holistic medicine?
I think Susie's actually going to be better at answering this one. Susie, you want to take it?
Sure. But in order to make a better choice for yourself, I think first it has to boil down to what you believe in, because we understand that there is a science behind belief. So you want to make sure that you're believing the practitioner that you're going to see. You know, there's that placebo effect, right? That you walk into a doctor's office and you feel better already, you know, and nothing's happened yet, but that whole act of going, and because of your belief, you're already stimulating your healthcare. So I do think that, you know, you can't be going to a naturopathic doctor if you don't believe in the science behind it, if you don't believe that in the ability of the body to heal once we remove the obstacles from its way. So you really have to believe. And I think, you know, just to answer your question, how do you choose? You know, first, I always work on mindset. So I always say, you know, adjust your mindset and see what you can absorb and what else you can believe in. And there is, and that's why, you know, the message that we're trying to drive home is that your body has the ability to heal. We just need to get out of its way, you know, in the sense that with our modern day, you know, lifestyle habits, food, toxins all around us, lack of stress, lack of sleep, you know, lack of sunlight, all of these things, you know, again, they seem light, but they are the foundations of our health. So if we can just manipulate our mindset and then begin to believe in the root cause theory that, you know, your body is, you know, if we had a goldfish, this is used often in the functional medicine circles. If you were a goldfish living in a bowl and the water was murky and your goldfish wasn't doing very well, you are not going to go and give that goldfish medicine, right, to treat it. You're going to change the water. You're going to change the environment that this goldfish is existing in. So this is what we need to do. We're the goldfish. We need to remove ourselves from the environment that's making us sick in the first place, and then hopefully you won't have the health issues that you're dealing with.
Do you think that the Western medical system has now become a one-size-fits-all kind of situation? And I'd like the three of you to give me your views on it, because it's a big question. It's a big statement.
I mean, I'll start since, you know, we touched on this. Yes, it has been very much a one size fits all. You know, you walk into a doctor's office, there's a pill for every ill. You know, you walk in, 7 minutes is your average time spent with that doctor. That's not enough, because you want to get into, you know, if we were to use the foundation that every one of us is completely different than the other. So even if I'm eating kale and you're eating kale, but I had a stressful, you know, situation in the past month and I haven't been sleeping well, then that kale isn't necessarily nourishing me the way that, and I'm just keeping it super basic and simple, but just to explain the point, you know, doctors should be asking us what we're feeling, what's going on with our personal life. Why did we suddenly have these pains, or why is your headache suddenly, you know, coming along? It doesn't just happen. Disease doesn't happen overnight. We don't sleep and wake up and have a disease that progresses over years and years, like, you know, decades in the making. So yeah, I will stop. Take it away, Mir.
Nads, do you want to go first? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Susie. I do think it's a one size fits all, and I think we've all been victims of that. I want to say, but by the same token, that's kind of what's pushed us to take control of our health and make a change. And again, I really want to push this message that do not feel intimidated. Go out there. If you don't know where to start looking for resources, there's so many people to follow. Listen to what Susie has to say, listen to what other nutritionists, functional medicine doctors, there's so many people out on social media. Use it constructively and positively. Seek out these people and start listening and start reading. We all have the ability to educate ourselves, and start there. And ask questions about your conditions. If you go in and you are diagnosed with something, ask questions. You have to make it a point to understand what's going on with you. You have to research what is the right, how much movement is right for you. I feel like sleep is something, that's a blanket. You can go across the board. We all need more sleep. We all need that, the minimum 7 hours, I would say. But do the research. And don't be scared to ask the questions. And like I said, if the doctor is dismissive, that's maybe not the doctor for you. So yeah, take control and ownership. And yeah, that's where I'm going to stop.
Part of taking control and ownership is examining also what kind of prescription you're being given from the doctor. And as Susie has mentioned a couple of times, there is a push for, especially if you're, there is a push generally, I don't want to name countries, for pills. There's a pill for everything now. But there is equally a push for supplements. And that I find that to have become a little bit confusing for the majority of people, not knowing. I mean, when you walk into a naturopath office and then you walk out with 50 supplements that you're supposed to buy and start taking, are supplements being pushed too much? And when is it that you need supplements, and how do you evaluate this situation? And how do you work around it? I'll leave this question open for anyone to interview.
I think I can start it and then I'll hand it over to Susie. I think it just goes back to that one size fits all, right? So we're saying that one size doesn't fit all. We can see that in our world. We don't all wear the same shoe size. We don't all wear the same, everything. Not every product works for me, works for you. And I think that would be the same for medication or for supplementation. I think testing would be, something that you would do in terms of supplementation. It would be great to take a zinc or an iron or do I need it? And that's the question you need to ask. When you go in and you see a whole labyrinth of different pills, you should be asking the question, what do I need? What kind of testing can I see? Are my vitamin D levels low? If they're not, don't take a vitamin D. It's very simple in that sense, but it goes back to testing and asking the right questions. And I do think there is a little bit of pill pushing, of course, in both sectors. And I think that taking ownership and understanding what your body needs and what works for you is the way to go. Susie, would you like to help me out on this also?
Yeah, I'd love to add, Mira. That was excellent. And I think, what you said, Reem, about, going into a holistic practitioner and coming out with a plethora of supplements is very real. And that's like a green pharmacy, it's not, the chemical stuff, but here we're going to give you the natural things. So I think I'm a person that takes supplements, and I love, experimenting and trying out many different things, but I do it with a background and with a lot of research. And it's very important. I want to say a couple of things. One, if you do decide to dabble with supplements, please make sure that you are getting the highest quality supplement, because it matters. And so that might mean it is also the more expensive one, and that's okay. If you're going to go there, I'd rather that you take a super high quality supplement. Also know why you're taking it. And of course, what Mira said, get tested to know if you even need it. But with the depletion of our soils and with the state of our food, as it travels, and by the time you eat your apple, it's already been, off of the tree, for, maybe possibly 2 months, then it does not contain what all the minerals and the nutrients that it's meant to. So I think it's really important to think about the quality of the supplement, know why you're taking it, and examine how you feel. Trust yourself, and if it doesn't feel good, then maybe you don't need it.
Can I also add to that? I think it's really important, and this is what I love about most naturopaths I've worked with. You go in, you talk to them about your lifestyle. They run testing, so it's very specific testing, and then you have a plan. So you're not just prescribed supplements without a plan, and so you will understand your plan. This supplement I'm going to take, because most supplements you're not supposed to take indefinitely for the rest of your life. You've got a question. Great, I'm taking this. How long am I taking it for? What's it treating? And you're checking in with your naturopath. You're not just seeing a naturopath once a year and then walking out with this medication. This is a continuous, this is a relationship. You're seeing that naturopath every couple of months. This naturopath is going to tell you when to come back in. You will be retested for certain things, then you'll reassess. So yeah, supplementation shouldn't just be indefinite. You have to constantly look at what you're taking, understand what you're taking, what is your plan for your health or for what you're trying to achieve. And then, but bring them in and out. You might go through times in your life. I'm just going to address the vitamin D because Mira brought it up. You might need vitamin D at some periods of your life. There are other periods of your life where maybe your body's absorbing the sun, you're out, it's summer, you're spending quite a bit of time outside, and your absorption rate is great and you don't need that vitamin D. Don't take it. So yeah, just making sure that, again, you are looking at your plan, not just taking things blindly for months on end. And completely agree with Susie about quality of supplements.
How do we assess the quality of the supplements? I mean, since we have you on a panel to give us this information.
I think with quality, it's about researching the brand itself. Mm-hmm. So I will have a look at the brand. I have a look at how they test their supplements, how they have a third party testing their supplements to ensure there are no, heavy metals or anything that shouldn't be there. So it's a lot of research, really. And there are the high quality supplements are well known, let's say in the circles of functional medicine. So then you go based on trust. After you've researched that brand itself, then generally speaking, at least for myself, then I trust the rest of their products.
This is this is a specific question leading up to a wider question, which is basically how do we research alternative holistic medicine, and how do we educate ourselves as the public to make more educated decisions concerning our health? This is open for anyone. And I think each one of you will have a contribution.
I want to say there's so much out there right now. I mean, we're so lucky. Sometimes we talk about the negative effects of social media, and absolutely there are a lot, but there are a lot of positive as well. And there's so many incredible people out there willing to give free information and making daily posts on different aspects of your health. And I feel like take that, bite, eat it. And then if something is interesting, research it a little bit more. There are free podcasts out there. When you're taking your walk, if you're alone, plug your ear pods and listen to that podcast. If you're driving your kids or driving yourself, pop that podcast in and listen. And, that's what I would say. I would say that's a great place to start. And of course, if you're working with someone one-on-one, like Susie, who's absolutely incredible, we adore her because we know how much time she puts into studying and into growing and evolving continuously, then I think find sources like that, find qualified nutritionists who, are educated to help you, find functional medicine doctors, a little bit harder in Abu Dhabi, I would say, and maybe more available in Dubai, more naturopaths and functional medicine doctors. But I think, I think it's to come.
Mm-hmm. My next question is focused on, this is from coming from me as a psychologist, what we see a lot is that you have a trend or a shift towards a healthier view, and then it's taken to the extreme, and then in its own right sometimes you start seeing a mental illness coming out of that. To be more specific, with the healthy eating trend and etc., now what we're seeing is the development of probably what's going to go on the next diagnostic manual for psychiatry and psychology, what we are calling um, orthorexia, which is basically an eating disorder where individuals are stuck to healthy eating, what is considered healthy eating, which tends to be, again, a very rigid diet, excluding a lot of other, causing a lot of anxiety, excluding a lot of other foods, causing a lot of anxiety if you don't follow this kind of diet, etc., etc., and all of what you see in the development of sometimes mental illness when people go a little bit too much to whatever extreme it is, radical, whether it's going to be I don't want to make it sound like it's Western medicine against alternative, which is not true, but I guess you get my point, is that sometimes it goes to the extreme and it turns out to be hurtful. So how do you balance that, and how do you view this? And what would you say to people in their attempt to seek a healthier lives, where they're trying to take care of their bodies, they're trying to prevent any kind of disease, but at the same time, how do we balance that? How do we do what Mira said at the beginning? Food is an enjoyable activity, and more it's becoming a dreadful experience.
I think I can chime in on that. In general, I think there'll always be an abuse of any new trend, right? So I don't think it's the fact that it's healthy eating
I
that
don't
would
think so, too.
someone who has maybe like a predisposition towards having this kind of, mental health issue. It might be healthy eating, it might be a fad diet, it might be the liquid diet, it might be the cabbage soup diet. It's not because there's a healthy eating, realm out there that someone who might be predisposed to this kind of, mental behavior will head towards it. I think it's just the new thing that's there, and people are jumping on that bandwagon and sort of running with it. I think you'll see that someone who might take that to another level might also, have to, look inwards a bit about why they're doing that. I do think that health food is trendy. You have to remember that people sell products, and if healthy is a product, then that's what people are selling. So if you go to the supermarket now, you might see a lot of, fake meat, sort of that, oh, I'm going to become a vegan. Is that the new trendy thing? Okay, now I'm going to eat this burger that looks like a burger, but it's not really a burger. It's made out of a bunch of chemicals smashed together into a patty. I think the question should be less about what's trendy and what's healthy, and more about what makes you feel good, right? So you have to do something that makes you feel good. Eating out is fun, it's sociable, it's part of our community, it's part of our culture. How much are you eating out? When do you eat out? Are you overeating when you're eating out? Has it consumed, more of your lifestyle? When you go to a restaurant, it's a restaurant. They're selling you something, they're selling you, I own a restaurant, so I know, what it is. I want people to come back. I want people to enjoy what I'm having. I'm trying to do it in a responsible way to make sure that what I'm giving you is good, but not everyone has that responsibility. Most people will tell you, yeah, this is healthy. They'll put a giant healthy sticker on it, and they'll want you to come back and have that, meal again and again and again. I think the question has to be how are people using these these places, these restaurants, the takeout, the third-party delivery service. I don't want to name names, but having things come to your door, being confined, being in COVID, all these things are playing into how we're behaving around food in general. Being home a lot, not being able to socialize and do the things that we're used to doing around food, which is being a community and spending time with our friends and family. has changed how we behave around food, and maybe has made things, because immunity is on everybody's mind, and people might be getting sick around us. People might try to control what they're eating in order to achieve that health factor, and maybe their anxiety towards the current situation, which is very real, can be leading them towards an unhealthy pattern. So I think it is less about the health food movement and more about, we're in a pandemic. People are stressed out. Like, people are going to start making decisions that maybe they're not used to making because they want to create control in an uncontrolled situation. So as a psychologist, I'm sure you see that often. And I think that that might be something that people need to look into.
No, I definitely agree with you. I mean, when I get eating disorders clients, I am perfectly aware that A, it's not about the food, B, it's not about their bodies. Like, it's a little bit about their bodies, a little bit about the food. And then there's a 90% that's about everything else. Their genetic predisposition, their upbringing, all of the other stuff. I don't want to go into what eating disorders are. But I guess and it is a trend, and obviously you see it every couple of years. There's a new diet, there's a new way, there's this, there's that. And honestly, personally, I'm at a point where I went back to the basics. I'm like, your plate is supposed to have 1/3 green, 1/3 carbs, 1/3 protein. That's it. That's what I'm supposed to eat. And I'm not gonna go into the details of it because it's just too much information, too many trends. But I guess my question was more of, how do you make that balance? How do you know I'm making these decisions out of being healthy and out of making decisions for the good of my body, rather than I am making these decisions because it's trendy, because it's my way of controlling something when I feel like we're in a pandemic and everything is so out of control. How do you distinguish this difference from your perspective? Like, I know how it's done from psychological perspective, but I want it from your perspective.
So I'll jump in. What I work with my clients is, giving them more and more and more reasons and information and knowledge to back up the very not so, trendy idea of going back to nature. So I spend a lot of time trying to put stories together and put the science together to make the going back to nature what you just mentioned, because of all the information that's out there. And again, it's good in some ways and it's bad in some other ways because we're bombarding people with all this information. And everybody's looking for the new thing, the latest fad. I don't want healthy eating to be a fad. I don't want it to be labeled that way. And healthy eating in itself is so questionable. People don't even know what that is anymore. It's like, what is it? So what should I eat? More carbs, more protein? What is it? Tell me what, and I'll do it. That's what I keep hearing. Just tell me what to eat. And
I'm agreeing with you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, great. Keep agreeing. But so I hear that a lot. I get a lot of people asking me, all right, just tell me what to eat. I will do it. Give me that piece of paper. And I resist that so much because I will not be doing them any favors, any service if I just give them a piece of paper to follow, because you can follow, anybody can do that for a week, 2, 3, whatever. And then eventually you're going to stop and your regular habits, your automatic habits will come back. So I want to work on those. And how do I do that? Is just by, again, spending time convincing people and telling them what the research has found, telling them, but in a fun, non-scientific way, giving them the reasons and actually allowing them to, once they make these changes, to feel really good. And if we can get addicted to feeling good, then that's a good thing. I know I'm using the word addiction, but the thing is, the orthorexia is something that I also try to push against. If you want to know if you have a healthy mindset when it comes to healthy living and healthy eating, then you should not be feeling guilty after you eat. That's one of the first ways of figuring it out. Food is amazing. Food is love. Food is enjoyable. But food can be our best medicine or our worst disease. So you have to change the way that we all have to change the way that we look at it. It is beyond taste, beyond crunchiness and chewy and gooey. Beyond that, what is this food communicating with our bodies? And even in psychology, I mean, there is now such a huge connection between our gut health and our mindset and our health in our brain. And the vagus nerve is a clear pathway of communication between the two brains, I guess, in our body. So again, it's all about just providing the information so that the person is convinced and feeling good about what they're doing. And even if it's baby steps, that's absolutely fine. I don't ask people to do 10 things at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I just say something very quickly about orthorexia, because we do see this a lot, in and out of our space. And it's amazing, we'll see women.
Something before you start, because I feel like it's relevant to orthorexia. What you also see is people having this list of good and bad food. Avocado is good, but I don't know, cheese is bad. Like that list of this is good, this is bad. And maybe people don't have orthorexia, but they have this mindset. Back to you, Nadia. I just wanted to add this bit because I think it's very relevant to the discussion.
No, you're right. You're right. There are lists. And sometimes we feel like if we make lists, we're in control of our lives. I mean, I know I sit down at the beginning of my day and make lists of to-dos, right? And to make sure that I'm getting through it. And it gives me that sense of control over my day. And I think sometimes when we have these food lists, and you're right, I think what's important is to be mindful. I think mindfulness is, and we talk about mindfulness so generically, but I think it's very important for us to all, when the time is right, in the way we see fit, start that step into mindfulness, understanding ourselves a little bit more, and understanding what makes us feel good and what doesn't. So, if I eat dairy and I have an immediate stomach ache, I think I know that food is just not right for me. Not to say that I'm never going to eat it. If I love my cheese, I'm going to save it for that special occasion, right? But I think if you're constantly obsessing, like if it becomes very, very obsessive, yes, you need to stop and question yourself and ask yourself, am I orthorexic? We have to do that. Take something very small as coffee. If you can't live, and a lot of us are like this, we cannot live without our cup of coffee. You've got a problem. Cut your coffee out. Try it. Cut your coffee out for a couple of weeks. You're not going to die. If you're still feeling sluggish, well, you know what? That's a telltale sign that there's something going on with your health or your gut, and you need to go figure it out. So just know that, there are things you don't have to live without anything. By the same token, you don't have to be dependent on, one particular thing. And if you are, you've got to stop and question yourself and what's going on with you. And yeah.
So we have 1 minute left, and I would like to give it to the three of you, and just maybe how do you like, what is the message that you would like people, listeners who participated in that in this seminar, to come out with? Like, what kind of learning would you want them to have gotten?
Cook your own food.
I think take control of your health. Understand, we didn't dive into this much, and it's something we're very passionate about, and we'll be talking about more and more in the future. Understand what metabolic health means. Understand how that impacts you. Understand how you can really prevent any COVID complications by taking control of your health metabolically and understanding your gut. Suze, I'm going to hand it over to you.
And just to piggyback off of that, Nadia, thank you. It's, without having the lists of good or bad, but truly we do have to look at the amount of sugar that we're taking in to our bodies. So, whether it's normal or not, a lot of things that we do that are normal are actually not very good for us. So we need to change and redefine normal. We do need to step away from that sugar in order to support our metabolic health, because When sugar is around, our immune system crashes. We need our immune system, guys. So feed your body health. You can through your food, through what you listen to, what you speak of, through your movement, through your sleep, through your exposure to sunlight. So please, do what you can, even if it's 5 minutes every day, dedicated to yourself. That's fantastic. You're still moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your contribution. This has been very educational, at least for me. Like there's a lot that you guys said that I felt, oh, I need to work on that. So, and I think that's the whole point, is that in order for us to reach, after years of being disconnected from our bodies, for us to reach that connection again, it's going to take time, and it's going to take learning, and it's a process. And this has been very helpful in terms of guidance for a lot of people as to how to embark on this process, and what would be the signs that they're going in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.